being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, you know, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay, not because she was black, but because they didn't believe in the WNBA.
This is part of my point. So now, you know, Caitlin Clark is bringing this money, these sponsorships, we hope, into the league, and other players will benefit from it. But I do think that she is more relatable to more people because she's white, because she's attractive. And unfortunately, there still is that stigma of against the LGBTQ plus community.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've spoken about women's basketball at the college level, at the WNBA level, and all the wonderful progress that has been made over the last couple of years. And my main concern was that they don't introduce male athletes into the game and ruin all the progress that the women have made. That was my main concern. But it appears that sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. So we've got Caitlin Clark, who's become the next big name in women's basketball. She beat Steph Curry's record, 3-point record, when she was playing at the college level, and she has essentially become a household name. The women's NCAA final had higher ratings than the men's. The women's draft had higher ratings than the men's.
Monday night's March Madness game, in which Iowa beat LSU to go to the Final Four, was watched by more than 12 million viewers on ESPN, making it the most watched women's college basketball game ever.
That's right, Jeff. In fact, it was the most watched college basketball game ever on the cable channel, men's or women's.
I have to confess, the women are far more interesting.
Men's final was a good game for the first half. 14.5 million people watched UConn pretty much dominate Purdue to win the back-to-back championships. But the men's ratings were 4 million viewers less than the women's final. And women's ratings have been on the upswing for years. This is a big deal, Joe.
It's a massive deal. And look, we could talk about what went into this. Some people are talking about how the women's game was on broadcast television on ABC and the men's was on cable. We could talk about how the men's game started at 9:20 on the East Coast and the women's started at 3 p.m. And all of that plays into the ratings a little bit. But it hasn't really mattered in the past, right? And I think ultimately my biggest takeaway from this is two things. Number one, stars, and two, storylines matter more than anything else in sports. The women's game had it this year and the men's didn't. And that's what made the difference.
When we talk about salaries, people are saying that the women's basketball is not valued as much as the men's. That's why they don't get paid as much. When realistically, it's just a matter of business. We can't expect the women to get paid a comparable amount to the men's because it doesn't bring in anywhere near as much. And it is subsidized by the men's. It's unrealistic to say that they should get paid a comparable amount. And male basketball players go to European countries all the time to earn more money. That is nothing new. It was Brittany Griner who made the mistake that she did. And she is back home today, thankfully, simply because she was chosen over a straight white male. So there's your privilege for you. So the WNBA is 70% black, apparently, and a third of them are LGBT. And it appears that some people have a huge problem with the fact that it's a white woman bringing in more money into the WNBA. Anybody but her, they would have been okay with, I'm sure. But because it happens to be a white woman who's the new face of basketball, who's a household name, who's earning big sponsorship deals with Nike, some people can't handle it. Even though it will benefit them in the long run, even though they're going to be able to negotiate better salaries, they're going to be able to negotiate better deals when it comes to sponsorship. They now get chartered flights. They seem to have forgotten that and are fixated on race. Sunny also fails to mention that straight women in the WNBA have alleged discrimination before, mainly due to pregnancy. There have been allegations and investigations into discrimination. She don't care about that though, does she?
Rough start to the new season for the defending champs. Yesterday, the WNBA announced its plans to suspend head coach Becky Hammon for 2 games with no pay. The league is also taking away the Aces 2025 first-round pick. This comes after an investigation found the Aces to have mistreated forward Dearica Hamby. Hamby was traded to the LA Sparks in January, and she claims the organization traded her because she was pregnant.
And then we had Jamele Hill saying, "It's not jealousy. It's just the fact that in our society, Black women are often erased from the picture. While Caitlin Clark's success should be widely celebrated, there are various points where we have seen dynamic phenoms and how they have been able to popularize the game. It's just that, for whatever reason, could be race, could be gender, could be a myriad of factors. That same marketing muscle that seems very intentional about making sure Caitlin Clark is a superstar was missing for them. Coke and Pepsi and all these other brands didn't come running for Cheryl Miller. So I think it's okay to have multiple conversations at once. There's plenty of room to highlight and celebrate Caitlin Clark's popularity while also discussing ways in which to not erase Black women from a league that they have built and continue to build." Great way of saying it would have been great if she wasn't white. Great way of saying that. And there were people who came to Caitlin Clark's defense. LeBron James came to her defense. Charles Barkley came to her defense.
What she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you are 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Caitlin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
And to question why Cheryl Miller didn't get the same treatment when Cheryl Miller was big in the 80s, where there was no social media, a completely different era. But meanwhile, Cheryl Miller is giving Caitlin Clark her flowers. Saying something to the effect of, "I'm so proud." So Cheryl Miller herself isn't fixated on the past and isn't wondering why I didn't get that. She's congratulating her because the legend that she is, she knows how far basketball has come for women, and that's what she's celebrating. She's not fixated on race. So it's one thing talking about these things off the court, but unfortunately it's spilled over onto the court and is now affecting the game, to the point where people are questioning, are they trying to hurt Caitlin?
And Clark. I mean, that's clear, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
So the B word was uttered there, and she just knocked her to the ground. So of course, people have questions. What is this? Where is this coming from? Is this the whole, we don't like the fact that a white girl is getting all this recognition, getting all this attention over us? And what people noticed there was Angel Reese standing on the sidelines, cheering it on, literally.
Ladies, hello to both of you.
Hello. Good morning.
So Chennedy Carter, not to be confused with Kennedy, said this on Instagram. "I grew up with all brothers. All we did is fight and argue. I love the hate more than the love, what you don't all understand. I'd rather you hate me than love me, and I mean that on my dead aunt." Woo!
Weird thing to say.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, I think if you don't want to answer questions about Caitlin Clark, maybe if you didn't treat Caitlin Clark the way you did, no one would be asking about you at the post-game presser. Chennedy Carter is a known bully in the WNBA. She was actually terminated from the first team she played on for threatening her own teammates and then waived from the second team she was on because of her, quote, poor conduct. But really, she's just a representative for, I think, how a lot of the players in the WNBA feel. And that's what the reporter just mentioned. It's a lot of jealousy and rage. They don't understand that if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, they also would not be getting the exposure that they're getting right now. And also the league so instantly has realized so many benefits and perks because of Caitlin Clark coming. Salaries will no doubt go up. They've gotten charter flights now. People are actually paying attention to the WNBA, which is incredible, but it's because of Caitlin Clark.
Do they love to hate her?
Yes, and they should. It should be a tough physical game. I thought that, we wanted parity in sports. We wanted women to earn their place and make what men make based on merit. So, yes, it's going to be tough at times.
Of course, you have some people saying that this is basketball, this is all part of the sport, and the women need to toughen up, or Caitlin needs to toughen up. But most people agree that that was a cheap shot, completely unnecessary, and just signifies the resentment that a lot of players feel towards Caitlin Clark.
Kennedy, on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the FIBA
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
So where was all that energy at the press conference? That same energy that you had on the court, nothing to say. And Matt Barnes, former NBA player, he agreed that it was all part of the game, these cheap shots and, being physical to that extent. But he questioned why her teammates didn't seem to have her back. I mean, is that how far the jealousy extends, that even her own teammates who benefit from having a player like her on their team?
So there's a hot topic going on right now. Caitlin Clark, today she got cheap shotted against the sky. I mean, throughout the season, she's been getting beat up. Hard screens, elbows, knocked down. It is what it is. She's not the first. She won't be the last. My issue and my question is, where the are her teammates at? Where y'all at? Where the rest of the Indiana Fever at? I've seen a couple girls smirk when she's got knocked down, half-assed to pick her up. Like, y'all supposed to protect the asset, protect the star. And all this is the team. She's the star. You always protect your star. I was someone who protected the stars. You with Kobe, CP, Blake, list goes on. It's going to be a problem because you guys are supposed to be a family. And you wonder why you sit at the bottom of the league right now is because y'all don't protect each other, man. Coach don't do shit about it. Players don't do shit about it. Y'all should be ashamed of it. But the rest of the league is going to continue to test her. And that's what they're supposed to do. It's your guys' job to have her back and have each other's back. Got to do better, ladies.
So apparently this team is not very good. LeBron James alluded to that. So you would think they would be happy to have a star player on their team. She's a rookie. And I guess some people who have been there longer don't care for it.
Yeah, Caitlin, what kind of happened in the second quarter with the double technical? It seemed like you and Victoria were kind of jawing at each other after that made three.
Yeah, two competitive people and hit us with the double tech. Honestly, that's about it.
We're talking about them maximize their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let me. I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a black man?
Being
black.
Hold on 1 second.
Have you?
So this is what I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, and maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. No. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Chennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go. You guys.
So did you say
you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
A., I'm talking to you.
Wow. Ouch. Well, if he wasn't talking about it 3 years ago, he certainly wasn't the only one who wasn't talking about it. But people are talking about it now. And that's great. And all of the drama that's been created, that's only going to get people talking about it even more.
Hey guys, I wanted to jump on real quick because I think the situation surrounding Caitlin Clark is pathetic. It has nothing to do with what's happening on the court. those veterans, those women are coming after Caitlin Clark, as they should. She's the #1 overall draft pick. They should come after her. They do it in the NBA. They did it with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and everybody. Why wouldn't they do that with Caitlin Clark? They do it in the NFL. They do it in the NHL and Major League Baseball too. That's how it should be done. And I guarantee you, Caitlin Clark knew that was coming her way. And I also guarantee you that she welcomed it. She's tough as nails. Bring it on is what I'm sure she said. That's fine. What's pathetic in my mind is what's happening on the outside. When people like Sunny Hoistin and Jamele Hill come after Caitlin Clark and say that she's only benefiting because she's white and because she's not a lesbian, that's why she's getting paid, that's why she's getting favorable treatment. Would you guys stop? You know better. Or maybe you don't, because it seems like making sure the race card continues to be played, make sure that you stay relevant. But why would you do that? It's fascinating, though, because if I think about the transgender sports issue, too, people like that, women like that, have been silent when it comes to transgender women, biological men trying to take part and successfully taking part in women's and girls' sports. You've been silent on that. What happened to being pro-woman? You're silent with that, but now you're going to cut down 22-year-old Caitlin Clark, who has single-handedly changed the game, brought in millions of other young fans, old fans. How about the ratings in college basketball for her? Record ratings. And now in her very short WNBA career, shattering records. Isn't that a win for everybody? Yes, black players too, regardless of race, regardless of who they choose to sleep with. Like, what are we doing and why? Please stop. Let's celebrate Caitlin Clark, celebrate her greatness, celebrate her courage to keep pushing through against people like you. Caitlin Clark, you go, girl. Don't listen to these people. Keep going strong. Most of us are normal and have your back.
I don't think we should discount somebody's achievements because of their race and claim that it's privilege. Because if she was a mediocre basketball player, we would not be talking about her. She wouldn't be where she is today. I do understand that it's not just Caitlin Clark. There are other basketball players that we need to mention, that we need to credit for bringing more attention to the game too, as Reese has alluded to multiple times. She basically said that on X and then she deleted the tweet, but now she's saying it again.
It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
So creating drama is great. I'm all for that. But it has to go beyond that, obviously. And Caitlin Clark's record speaks for itself.
And Caitlin, did you know that you passed Steph Curry with that first three?
Took me a while, but hey, that's what makes it fun. And, some of the best shooters in the world, they have, off nights like that from three-point line. But they all felt good, and that's all you can ask. And, Steph's amazing, somebody that I grew up idolizing. So pretty cool moment. And we're excited. Obviously, we get, hopefully 2 more games in this building in front of our fans who've showed out and really traveled and spent a lot of time, money to be here. So I'm just happy for our group.
So let's talk about these fans, Caitlin. Let's be honest. These people came here to see you, and that's okay. I don't care why they're here. They're here.
And Angel Reese is off to a great start in her WNBA career. They're saying that she's making WNBA history just in the month of May alone. So she's averaging 11 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, 2 assists, stats no other rookie in WNBA history has ever achieved. So it's important to realize that if you come across as mean-spirited, jealous, resentful, that's not going to go down well when it comes to going for sponsorship deals. They're not going to sponsor somebody for millions of dollars who people don't like. So perhaps it's just about maintaining the balance between healthy banter, healthy drama that brings attention to the game, and sportsmanship, likability, being a team player, and then when it comes to your brand. And people will argue that Caitlin has that right when it comes to likability, showing humility, showing gratitude. And I do think that's a factor when it comes to drawing in sponsorship and negotiating big deals.
Watch Caitlin Clark get hip checked by this Chicago Sky player, and tell me if you truly believe this is a basketball play or they're targeting her. You guys want to tell me with a straight face there's no agenda against Caitlin Clark. With a straight face. They're not targeting her, right? The WNBA is going to have to figure this out. The NBA figured out in the 80s to early 90s, they got to get rid of all that physical play. That's not a good product. That's not putting butts in the seats like scoring. By the way, that was not even a flagrant foul. But in the same breath, they want to call Aaliyah Boston for every single touch foul ever. That's why she's always in foul trouble. So they also need to revamp the refereeing system.
And even Angel Reese's coach, Teresa Witherspoon, the coach for Chicago Sky, she said that Kennedy's hip check against Caitlin was inappropriate. Physical play, intensity, and a competitive spirit are hallmarks of Chicago Sky basketball. Kennedy got caught up in the heat of the moment in an effort to win the game. She and I have discussed what happened and that it was not appropriate, nor is it what we do or who we are. Kennedy understands there are better ways to handle situations on the court, and she will learn from this, as we all will. As a team, we will grow together and continue to work hard to display strong leadership and set a positive example for our competitors, fans, and partners. And that's what it's all about. You want to maintain your image as a sporting personality. You don't want to ruin that. So at first it was only called a common foul, and then it was revised to a flagrant one.
What needs to be better done to protect her? Because we've seen those game in and game out right now.
I'm trying not to get fun. We're just going to keep sending these possessions to the league and these plays, and hopefully they'll start, taking a better look at some of the things that we see happening or we think is happening. Just more happy that Caitlin handled it the way she did. It's tough, to keep getting hammered the way she does and to not get rewarded with free throws or, just a foul call. Like she's continuing to fight through that. And that's what, appreciate that from her. Really, really proud of her for doing that.
Angel Reese didn't go to the press conference and she received her first fine of $1,000. And Chicago Sky got fined $5,000 because their player didn't turn up to the press conference. Not sure why she didn't turn up. Perhaps she didn't want to answer the tough questions either. So people are talking about women's basketball for sure. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and God willing, I will see you in the next video.